Hi everyone, welcome back to Coloring with Lori. Hope you're all doing well tonight. I am super excited about this video, probably the most excited I've been. This is my trials, fails, successes, learning what I like, what I don't like. I started coloring now, adult coloring, I think it's been 11 years. Watched a lot of stuff, tried a lot of medias. So one of the first people that I've watched was Dee Dee Willingham's. And if you watch her, you know she works a lot with acrylic washes. And back then, 10 years ago, she worked a lot in Kirby Roseanne's books. So I followed her quite exclusively because the acrylic paints and washes were quite affordable. Didn't understand pencils. Started with the Crayolas, hard pencils that I didn't like. I won a set of Prismacolor pencils, which really led me into coloring world. Learning how to use those pencils. This page is one of those pages that I started. This does have a slight acrylic wash on it and Prismacolor pencils on top. Again, this is 10 years ago going through my journey, so there's a lot of good, not so good. This is pure acrylics on the back, an acrylic wash on the swans, Prismacolor pencils on top. Definitely a little gold gel pen in there. And this is all kind of from watching Dee Dee Willingham work. The elephant is an acrylic wash with pencils on top. This is straight acrylic paint. Working with the Prismacolor pencils. Didn't understand how they worked. Did not understand the blend. Here I actually used a gold acrylic paint. Again, the black acrylic paint in the back. Never came back to this. Prismacolors, I think that's, let's see. Gold pencil, indigo blue, light cerulean. Yep, that's definitely Prismacolor pencils. So someday I actually could come back and finish that. But this is kind of an abandoned book. This is also all acrylic right here. Pure, it was like a gray acrylic paint. And then the acrylic wash for the smoke. I was going to go in and just do like gray and red highlights. So I started the red. But again, this book, pretty much this book is abandoned. We have this. This was on my own. I was actually pretty proud of this. Using gel pens in the copper tones and some straight gel pens that are not sparkly for the brighter pinks. This is an acrylic water, very soft pink. And then the straight acrylic paint in the back. Using silver metallic pencils for the blades, which I was loving and was taking forever. This actually would be one that I could possibly go back to. Didn't mess it up yet, and so still working on it. This picture right here is the one that won the contest and got me my free Prismacolor set of pencils. This is all done with a 12 set of Prismacolors. And I think I had one pan pastel, a blue pan pastel that I did in the background. And kind of brought those highlights into the bear. So I do apologize about my breathing. I'm still sick, and talking kind of elevates the breathing issues. This is one. Also a straight acrylic background. Used some Prismacolor pencils to try to give that a little bit of flair. Starting to black out some of the buildings. He is all done in pencil. Haven't done anything to that. One of the reasons I abandoned this book, it's absolutely falling to pieces. So, as you hear people say, the books are falling apart. The books are falling apart. This is actually, I kind of followed Dee Dee Willingham. She did this one. It does look kind of cool. I kind of gave up on it. I wasn't totally happy with it. In the end, I kind of realized this wasn't the kind of coloring style that I preferred. It was fun playing with the paints and learning the pencils. That was a lot of what this book was about, because Dee Dee is a professional with the Prismacolor pencils. This was another play page, using up some acrylic paints, playing with the acrylic watercolor wash. This was done like this, and then a little bit of greens, washes, and trying to work into pencils. Gave up. This one obviously has some metallic on the spider web. I drew in this wood panel, so that is all me drawn. That was not there. And some gel pens and pencils in there. I don't really care for hot air balloons. This was kind of actually going off Dee Dee too. The color combo. She has both of these pages. If you remember, she did the... Yeah, Dee Dee goes way back. This was a fun experiment. I did enjoy these pages. This is straight acrylic paint. The acrylic paint's back there. Put some pencil on to kind of highlight the tree border. Some straight gel pens, not sparkly, and a lot of Prismacolor pencils. So, didn't care for that page. This I was hoping to do like an opposite. It's straight acrylic paint on the back. And I was kind of hoping to do like, you know, blue dragon, green tops, and reverse the side, but the fiddly faddly, I don't know, came out okay. Again, this book was definitely a playground for me, learning pencils. I do believe I actually put some marker down on this one. Nope. It's again watercolor washes and pencils, practicing with medias, and it's acrylic paint, and you add water to it, and it kind of works like watercolor, but it gives a nice texture, which, if you know, Kirby's paper is very soft, so it helps with the Prismacolor pencils. This was one I kind of watched Dee Dee while she was doing, but put in my own colors, and I was super proud of him when I first did him. I thought, wow. And, you know, looking back, being that I was only coloring for a couple years, I do think he's pretty cool. So, a lot of different medias used in here. Pan pastels. I'm sure there's a watercolor wash on here. This is all Prismacolor pencils on the shark. I can, you know, there's gel pens down in here. Yep. Acrylic paint on the background. Starting to work in Prismacolor pencils to give it some depth. Started to work on there with gel pens. These two are both, well, this one's straight pencils. This had an acrylic wash on it. I do know that, of like a light gold, and I went too far. So I just thought, well, let me use the autumn colors and fill that in. Worked on this a little bit. Didn't really care for where it was going, but this was definitely a play page when I wanted to use gel pens or certain markers, and I was like, ooh, I like that color. So I just kind of threw it down. Was starting to learn how to do waterfalls, so this was a good page to practice on those. Wasn't yet starting to put enough white in the water. and learning the purple skies and acrylic paint for clouds. Definitely a learning experience. This is an acrylic wash. This is a good example of just the wash down. Like I said, again, it works like watercolor, and it gives you a nice texture, and it's a cheap version of watercolor. This is another one I was super proud of. Tons of work, tons of hours. I know I did a watercolor wash on here. And just brought it all in with pencils and different colors. I don't feel any gel pens. That's all Prismacolor. This one here I was very, very, very proud of. It's a straight acrylic background. This is silver. I did gray pencil tinging, and then there is a little bit of silver gel pen on there. And then this, of course, is all pencil work with the brown and his eyes. A little bit of blue to give it a little pop. Started on that one. These I was kind of just testing. I'm not much of a skin tone colorist, so I was trying to use up skin tones, and I thought shells were a good place. This is based, I can tell, with Crayola watercolor pencils. I can tell by those colors. This is Neocolors. This says Prismacolors, so I was working on that in Prismacolors. So yeah, this is one of the first books that I really experimented in. This wasn't the first book that I got, but I started with this because it was probably my most experimental book. Which led me into doing this because I had all the acrylic paints and was really into watching Dee Dee Willingham. And she did a lot of journaling. And at that time, she was doing what she called desktop journals, using magazines, and she would cut the magazines in half and glue them together. Paint the tops black, and then make a journal. So these are magazine pictures that I collaged and used my leftover paints and made a desktop journal with my acrylic paints. And I had wildlife magazines and some kitchen magazines, so I tried my best and I made this desktop journal. And the thing with the desktop journal is you leave it on your desk, and when you're doing colorings or paintings and you're using acrylic paints and washes and you have them, then rather than letting them dry up and go to waste, you splash them on your journal. So this is, a lot of these are not done. I had just glued down, parts. I had a lot of doggy magazines and a lot of flower magazines. So there's a lot of, mixed, and I ran out of paint. So a lot of them are just the magazine pieces put on. A lot of them are finished collages. I tried to color coordinate. I know in the coloring world, a lot of you may not be interested in this, but I was just using up paints. A lot of people seem to fall into the journaling, coloring world. I didn't want to have to buy more paints to work on this, so a lot of this is still just the magazine pictures. I don't know if I'll ever get back to this because I don't have any acrylic paints. I don't plan on buying any more acrylic paints. So this probably will remain the way it is. But it's still fun to look back at. This was very, very new. when I started doing coloring. And Dee Dee just got me very interested. I actually cut that out, a coloring book page, and put that on there. That was part of that. But, you know, yep, down my road of trying different mediums, what I like, don't like. That's, didn't want to waste the paint. Not anything I'm interested in anymore. So like I said, I doubt this will ever get finished. But, no, it was just part of the journey. Learning the color, playing with art. Never really did that in my life. Never really was interested in art. Never really thought I had an art eye. But, you know, as we grow, go through stuff. This was right after I quit working. Was in the hospital a few times. Life was changing. Used to be a very active person. Could not really sit still and do things. That was not my thing, to sit still and do art. What made me happy was moving, hiking, skating, bike riding, walking. So when that wasn't an option anymore, then I would sit and do art. Try. This was one page I was actually really super proud of. I was very happy with that and thought it was one of the most artistic things I've ever done in my life. So, out of this came a few good things. There's a couple other things that I will show you that I was actually pretty proud of that I came up with. As a ruins and turning it into something. Learning color coordinations. You know, I love these colors and just getting rid of that paint and putting it together, trying to make it look pretty. I probably was going to put some pictures down on there and didn't get to it. So this is what was once called a desktop journal. And you just use your... I had a black lab named Buddy. He was my very first dog I ever had. And he was a really, really good boy. And that's kind of what these pages are dedicated to. If you know me, you know my love of doggies. So we had to have a doggy page. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll ever get back to that or not. But that is my desk journal. Another thing that I did watching Dee Dee was color my sketchbook characteristics. This is that horrible Amazon paper and grayscale, which through the years I tried and tested and I do not care for. So, did do a few pages in here, just playing around. He's okay. Yeah, so this is years back. This is the beginning of my coloring. What I did to try and learn and tested and gave up. And do I like this? Don't I like this? I don't like this paper. I'm not going to work on this paper. You're not going to tell me that I have to work on this paper. I enjoy the smoothness of papers. So, okay, so from there, I'm going to go with Secret Garden because Dee Dee kind of flooded into here too with her journal when I messed up some pages. This was actually the very first adult coloring book I ever bought. Saw it at Kroger's when I was grocery shopping. The paper is absolutely, it is so thick. So, all I had at this time was Marco Raffine pencils and Crayola. Like I said, this was the first book, so this was before Dee Dee was introduced. The reason I showed that stuff first is because some of Dee Dee's stuff comes into this book, so... And this was just learning pencils, learning how to blend. Some of my blends aren't that great. Learning colors. This was like a practice page with different color blends. I think I actually wrote down every color blend somewhere that is on this page that I still have. I was very, very proud of this page. This was something that was very popular back, is this type of blending on the leaves. And I really, really enjoyed it. And back, you know, 9-10 years ago when we started coloring, backgrounds weren't a thing. So I was very happy with that page. This was again color testing and testing pencils. And just a couple of weeks ago, when I got some stencils, I started practicing some stencils on here to do backgrounds, which actually came out pretty. It came out pretty nice. I love to do doors in wood. I was just working on the doors in wood, and that's that type of blending shading I was talking about. Little things. If you knew Johanna Basfords back then, you knew that she left you stuff to draw in and color, which I wasn't into. I was trying to get my sister-in-law to draw in some stuff so I could finish coloring, but she's got her own art going on. I was very proud of this page. Again, this is with budget pencils. So, and just kind of working my colors, starting to learn things. Again, this does have pencils, gel pens, probably a Jelly Art white marker, you know, that came in with putting our white accents on the flowers. So I started doing that. Also over here, this is Marco Raffine pencils. This page I actually really enjoyed and loved. I should get back to that and do that. There's a lot of gel pen on here. Not the glitter gel pen, so it's not sparkly or anything. And Crayola pencils. There's probably a 12-pack of Prismacolors on there. This picture, I messed up. I don't remember what I did, but I did something across here. I think I got it, like, changed the color to like a dark gray. So I thought, well, let's make it like the well is steaming, and I put a wash of white acrylic paint across it to make it like the well is steaming. There's glitter gel pen in here, which is making this ground sparkle, but you can't see it on the video. So here's where the DD comes in, because I completely ruined these pages. So I turned them into a massive collage page with acrylic paint. I put wildlife in here, trying to make it look like it was just a wildlife scene. I don't know. I liked it. It's kind of a mess, but it's beautiful in its own way. It's my art, and that's what I did with the pages that I felt I completely ruined. So, some more experimental. This page was one of the only pages I ever did a background on, and it is completely pencil. I was very proud of this page. Probably one of the first pages that I was actually, look what I did. And it's all pencil. That's all pencil also. So this is just going through my journey. Again, with the leaves, learning how to blend those. Practicing with some watercolor markers in different colors on this paper. I don't really, I'm trying to give you the best explanation I can. Here's another page that I went back and forth with this one. I know there's some watercolor on here and some pencils and definitely markers, and I came back and forth and just kind of made myself finish that. So again, these are like, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old, so it's hard for me to remember exactly what I did, but I just kind of wanted to show you my journey of learning to color. There's another page back here that I completely ruined. So we did another collage. Or maybe I didn't ruin this one. No, it was just in the pages. I must have just liked his picture, so I did another collage in the book. So like that. And my other one, I might do like a part 2 of this if I find more books, but these are the 3 that I found the most experimental and my newest. Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. Did a lot of work in here. Followed different colorists in here too. I think one of the most prominent was P.D. Hewitt. Don't know if she's big right now. This was all me. There was a lot of stuff on the background. Couldn't tell you right now what it was, but didn't want it there. So I blacked it all out. Did these little crabbies. These are sparkly gel pens. Thought that came out really nice. Did some dots with a different color. Couple different, I think it's white Posca and a light blue Posca. I had high inspirations here. I was going to black out all this background and do these fish, but yeah, you see how far that went. I definitely don't have too much done in this book. This was one in the very beginning, working with colors and low-budget pencils. There is a little bit of blue background on here. It's probably not showing up on the video, but there is a little bit of a background on there. This one was all done with polychroma pencils. I do remember that. And that was a lot of work, doing that detail on that edging. Oh, Mike's alarm is going off. Playing with some glitter gel pens. This one here, the Sugar Skull, is actually the only thing that's on this page. And I drew in this wood and nails. I was very, very proud of that picture. This one also, one that I was very proud of in the beginning of my coloring journey. Pencils and pan pastels in the background. Beautiful. Probably in my top 10 of favorite pictures. Didn't have very much experience. This is when I first did it. 2017. All colored pencils. I do believe polychromos pencils. Another one. Pencils. A little bit of pan pastel in the background. Polychromos pencils. Alright, I'm going to have to cut this short because his alarm's going off. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe if you're not. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. Bye.